Last time I showed you how I brainstormed all these little thumbnail layouts, and I decided to go with this one here. And so now I'm going to show you the second step that I go through, and that's taking that little thumbnail and inserting it into a full-size canvas. And I want to start by clicking on the plus sign and then the little canvas sign. And you can do it in pixels, millimeters, or centimeters. I'm going to do mine in inches. And I want it to be for an imaginary book, because this is just for my portfolio, but for an imaginary book that's 10 by 8. And since it's not going to be something that's printed, I'm not going to worry about bleed. And so I'm just going to do 10 times 2 is 20. So I'm going to want it 20 inches wide and then just, whoopsies, 8 inches high. And I'm going to leave the DPI the same because, again, it's not for print. This is going to be painted. Excuse me. This is going to be painted traditionally at the end. All right. And then so just create. And that'll give me the canvas of the full spread. And so the next thing that I want to do is put a gutter line, a center line. And I'm going to do that by clicking on the little wrench, the canvas button here, and then drawing guide, I'm going to toggle on. Then I go to edit drawing guide, and how it's on 2D grid right now is highlighted. I want to go over to symmetry, and I want to click symmetry. And that gives us that nice middle line. So click done. And now we have it all lined up, ready to put the thumbnail image into. So now I'm going to come to the double little canvas or double little layer mark. I'm going to make a new layer. And so the next thing that I want to do is I want to insert the picture of the thumbnail that I chose. So since I didn't already make that a picture, what I'm going to do is go back to my gallery and pick my thumbnail page. And I'm going to freehand circle that, go to the layers panel, go to the layers panel, click on the little square thumbnail right here on the side, and it's going to give me these options. I want to pick copy, then I'm going to go back to the gallery, I'm going to click my spread that I just made, open here, and actually just kidding. I want to go here to the wrench icon, click add, and put paste. And yeah, there we go. That was the right way. And so now it's put that little tiny image in. And so I can expand it out, and it's going to be blurry. That's totally fine. We're going to be lowering the opacity and drawing over it anyway. So I have two options here because my thumbnails were not measured out proportionately, so it's not going to line up exactly. So I can either make it line up with the edges, with at least a few of the edges, or I can use my center line of my sketch and try to match it with the center line of the picture. So when I do that and start that way, I feel like it's going to give too much, oops, sorry about that. I feel like it's going to give too much space over here on the left, that I didn't want this much space next to her feet. I wanted her feet at the edge of the page. So I'm actually going to make mine be at the edge of the page. I mean, as closely as I can get it, right? I'm actually going to 3 taps to put it back because I had accidentally deleted it. Okay, let's expand it a little bit bigger because I want to make sure her legs reach all the way to the top. Okay, so that's a bit closer. And then I'm going to twist it. Oh, not delete it, Nikki. Excuse me. Technical difficulties. We have a lot of those on here, I think. I'm still learning Procreate. Okay, so let's get that situated back with the legs. And then I was just trying to turn the dragon a little bit so that he wasn't diving off the edge of the page. Okay, there we go. That's better. So I'm going to click that again to get rid of it. And now what I want to do is I want to freeform remove basically this whole chunk and then copy and paste. And so then he's going to be on a separate layer. So this was him added on. There's the first one by itself. Oh, it copied the whole... Okay, excuse me while I have a technical difficulty again. I'll speed this part up for you. Okay, I'm just going to try that again. So I'm going to take the dragon and what's on the right of him, and I'm going to remove him, and then I'm going to invert that selection so that it should only select the dragon. Then I'm going to copy and paste. Let's see if that one worked. Well, it still didn't remove him, but I did get just a separate dragon. So I'll just leave it at that. I know that's not the most efficient way to do that. If you know how to work Procreate pretty well, I'm sorry, because this is probably painful to watch. But what I'm going to do as a little workaround is just go back here and erase what I copied. Okay, there we go. So at least this way I can move him around by himself. Okay, so sorry about that. And so I'm going to take him, and because I think that the way I had him, his little foot is a little too close to what ended up being the actual center line. And so I'm going to scoot him over and give him just a little bit more breathing room there. Now what I want to do is lower the opacity. And so I clicked on the little N, and I'm going to lower this slider. I usually do around 50, maybe a little lower depending on what I'm doing. I think I'm going to go lower this time, go down to about there, 43 or so. Click the N again. Then I want to go to this layer and do the same thing, and I'll just match the opacity, about 43. Okay, and now I'm going to make another layer. And so this really rough sketch that's under here is going to become kind of a guide for my next layer of sketching that's going to be a little bit more refined. Still a rough sketch though. This is not the final sketch stage. So my second layer of sketching, I like to do kind of a blue. Let's see if that's the right color. Yeah, that works great. Okay. And I also, whereas with the thumbnail, I had my size up, I think pretty high. I'm going to lower the size of my brush a little bit so that that helps me refine the sketch a little bit better. By the time I do the final sketch, I'll be probably down here somewhere and zoomed in, but I still stay zoomed out for this one. Okay, so I'm going to start with her legs because they're pretty close to how I actually want them. Okay, and for this sketch, I like to do a separate layer for each major element because it just makes it easier because I'm going to be doing a lot of erasing. And so that's another layer there, and I want to put in, I think, the mountains next. And so with the dragon's pose, I want to change a little bit more. And so I'm thinking that I want to have the legs come more like this. So originally I had his wings kind of folded down and I was thinking, oh, they'll be in like this lump. But I feel like it makes the silhouette, I mean, he kind of just looks like a mountain. So I thought it might be fun, like have a better silhouette to have his little wing sticking up. But now I'm not sure if it takes up too much space in the sky because I kind of liked having all that open space in the sky. I'm also thinking that he might be a little too big. So actually, let's try shrinking him down a bit. Okay, maybe more like that. I mean, I'll have to work on the pose more later and get his actual anatomy right, but I think that's okay. And there would be another wing as well. So now one of the things that I haven't decided about the mountains yet, let me find their layer. Oh, did I do that on the same layer? Nope. Oh, I drew the dragon on the mountain layer. That's okay. I lied. It's not all right. I'll make another one. All right. Then on the dragon layer, I'm going to erase the mountains. And that way I don't have to worry about erasing part of the dragon by accident later. Okay, mountain layer. And so what I'm trying to figure out is, should I leave this as sky right in here? Because it would, again, help with the silhouette, I think. And then how much room do I want between his face and where the mountain is ending? Do I want it to come up to the side? Do I want it to just go down? You know, what are they looking at? Do I want the peak of the mountain by his face, like the ending point, or do I want it like down here? Is that too close to this line? You know, just trying to figure out more of the composition than what I had before. I do know I don't want it this high up. And I do like the idea of it coming and leaving this triangle of open sky. Do I want it to come straight across that way? I'm not sure. I feel like it comes up too far to his face. Maybe like that is better. Is this too much of just a slant? And then do I want it to come up from the side as well? Or do I want it to look like she's on the top of the mountain range, you know, that it would actually be coming down like there? So at this point, now that I have I've copied over most of the things, I'm going to make these not visible so that I can start to see my composition better, what it would actually be like. So then one of the other things that I had thought about in the other one was having a little border because of the way that my other illustrations are that go with this set. But I'm not sure. That's one that I still have not figured out. I feel like if I have the border, I like how it matches with the other illustration that I did. But if I don't have the border, then it looks a lot more expansive. And the whole point is to have it look like they're, oh, you know, it's opened up onto this giant vista. So I'm not sure yet. I have to think about that one a little bit more. I think that one will become more clear when I do the color study. I was thinking it might be nice to have the mountains end right here. So I think this is a pretty good full-size guideline of where I want to go from here. And since it's the size of the finished art, it's not going to be all blurry and hurt my eyes to draw over it for the final sketch. The next step is going to be making the value study, so I hope you'll join me for that. Until next time.